This is optibotimus coming with another video review, and today we're going to be taking a look at the first figure in the Transformer Collector Club figure subscription service, that being Scourge. Now, you can see they're using these kind of funky stickers that say the name of the figure. That's how a lot of people are knowing who they're getting. Now, I'm doing this a little bit later in the game. A lot of people have already reviewed theirs, and all the reviews started coming out as soon as actual club members started getting this. Well, I shouldn't say club members. Members of the subscription service started getting theirs. I'm doing mine now because this figure is now available on the Transformer Collector Club website. And if you are a club member but didn't sign up for the subscription service, this figure is now available for you to buy separately. So this is how you get them packaged. Obviously, you got the mailing label on here, and then you open them up. Now, starting things off first, there's already been criticisms because the box is a little bit too small. If I can get it angled just right, you can kind of see the smokestacks. It pokes onto the box. A lot of people are having that problem. Some people are, some people aren't. But what it's in turn doing is making the paint rub on here, and I do have that on mine. Zooming in so that you can see where it's been worn off because of rubbing on that, and it's not so much on this side. You can totally see it on this one. That's really very unfortunate. It's an easy fix, but when you're paying this much money for a figure, you really would like to see more care going into the packaging, and that's just a bad sign as soon as you open it. The other problem that I have, and they've done this for a long time, they have too small of boxes. They got the nice foam insert, which I dig, and I appreciate that these aren't being shipped in just plastic bags. I like that. But the instruction manual and the tech spec card, because the box is too small, gets bent like this. Now, you could fix it, and honestly, it's not so much the card that's bent as it's the instruction, so it's not that bad. But again, I would just like to see a little bit more care taken when you're doing that kind of thing. Like I said, we're paying that much for what's amounting to an adult collectible, and I would really like to see a little bit more care go into it. But there you have the instructions, and like I said, you got the tech specs right up on here. You got the technical data, and you have his bio. And zooming in so that you can read along with me, it says, "Vengeance is an excuse for failure. I do not seek vengeance." That's a wonderful quote. I like that. Because really, that's what vengeance is. It's just an excuse for failure. Cunning, dangerous, and cruel, Scourge is a no-nonsense field commander charged with leading his army into battle. Although he shows little compassion for his troops, he shows even less for the enemy as he swings the signature Sword of Fury blade relentlessly towards the opposition, seeking to wreak as much bodily damage as possible. Should that fail to deliver the final blow, a barrage attack from his 4 shoulder-mounted missile launchers will end the fight with definitive results. Formed when multiple personalities, including the heroic Optimus Prime, were simultaneously scanned, Scourge rarely speaks of his origins. He detests them. He seeks to one day rectify the mix-up during his creation by slicing through the Autobot commander's armor plating and extinguishing the spark of life within. Really cool, and I love the art on here. Very nice looking picture. Now, the Scourge figure itself utilizes the Reveal the Shield, the G2 Optimus Prime mold. Now, I never actually reviewed that because, honestly, I never really liked the look of the figure. I really dig Scourge here because it's a different character, and I like him looking a little bit different. I don't like looking at this and seeing Optimus Prime. Now, while this utilizes the same mold, as you can see, it's a very nice repaint, and it also has an alternate head on here, which, oddly enough, if you did get that G2 Optimus Prime, in the instruction sheet, it actually shows Scourge's head. It doesn't show the Optimus Prime head, which is really very interesting and led a lot of people to kind of speculate what was going to happen with that. Well, lo and behold, this is basically what we got. And again, I really like this as Scourge. Very nice black paint. You got the teal going throughout the entire thing. Very bright, almost neon color. I mean, you can see that stands out really nicely. I love the translucent red windows here. Really gives a very Scourge look and feel. You got his trailer hitch and sword pegged in there and everything. You got the upside down G2 Autobot logo, which I think is a little bit different. If I remember, I thought I saw somewhere that in the original Scourge, it was just an upside down regular Autobot symbol. So it's interesting that they went with the G2 look, but I do like it. It's not bad, but really very nice looking. Now, I am a little bit bummed out about the scraped up paint on here. These are collector figures, so you do expect a little bit more from them. These aren't mass-released $15 toys that we're getting at Walmart from Hasbro. And as I showed with the packaging, that packaging was really nice, and it was upgraded from what we got previously, mostly to make sure that we got the figures in good condition. Well, the first one that we got wasn't really good. So I know a lot of people that are on the fence about this. And when you're talking a $70 figure, or the commitment basically to the subscription service, just my personal opinion is you do expect more. So if that's something that really bothers you, I'll be able to fix that. That's just, like I said, silver paint. But if that's something that really does bother you, I would recommend contacting the people at FunPub and seeing what they would do about that for you. Because it's not an uncommon problem. A lot of people are having that issue. But beyond that though, I really do like the mold on here. Like I said, I think it works very nicely for Scourge. I really didn't like this as Optimus Prime. Well, when you get the wheels down and around right, I mean, he rolls fairly well, except mine's not doing it now because I was funneling it. There we go. But very nice looking nonetheless. Now, even though I never reviewed this guy, I'm going to go ahead and skip the transformation. He's a fairly old figure, and a lot of people are probably already very familiar with the transformation on this. And it just helps to keep the video a little bit shorter than it needs to be. So with utilizing some wonderful movie magic, we're going to go from this to this. And here we have Scourge in his robot mode. And for a deluxe size figure, he is a pretty small guy, but so very cool. Now, because he's a deluxe size, I think it works much better for this character. Optimus Prime, I think, should be a bigger character, a Voyager or Leader, something of that nature. A deluxe just doesn't work very well for Optimus, in my opinion. But Scourge here just, I think, looks phenomenal with this mold. Now, for a comparison, the only other Scourge figure that I have is this little teeny tiny guy. But you can see there is a lot of the same elements here, especially with the gigantic missile launchers here on his shoulders. And then obviously you got the very nice teal coloring that is also represented here in the original, or I'm sorry, the more updated version. Now he does have his sword, which, just getting that out of the way, very nice red translucent plastic on here. When it's not transformed, it's like this stuck in his butt, and then you just flip it out here, and then you bring this over, tuck that under, and I really dig the sword on here. I mean, it's always cool when Transformers come with swords. It's one of those things that it automatically makes fans like a figure if it comes with the sword. But the figure itself is a pretty nice one. Now, it's an interesting note here that this is the original release of the mold. The way that you can tell is that there's an extra red tab right inside here, which honestly does kind of screw up the articulation. This arm is perfectly fine. I mean, it rotates fairly well. I mean, you got the big giant tab there, and that sort of gets in the way, keeping that together. This one down here really gets in the way of things. Now, the Takara release of the G2 Optimus Prime mold actually had that removed on their mold. So this is the original Hasbro one, which I think is kind of interesting. Now, first articulation, the head is on a ball joint, so you get a little bit of pivot going around. It can kind of unlatch this if you move it around too much though, but nice range of motion there. The shoulders here, they do rotate, but there is some clearance issues in some aspects, especially here on the right arm. It does rotate out, but only that far on both sides because, again, of the giant shoulder pieces. It rotates also at the upper part of the bicep, bends at the elbow, and then this giant hanging bit here really kind of clusters things up when you're talking maneuverability and everything. You just got a big giant pad hanging out there, which kind of stinks. The wrists rotate just a little, not a heck of a lot of rotation actually, and then they actually rotate back and forth here on a swivel, which is really cool. I do like that. You can get some kind of heroic He-Man-esque kind of poses where you're, why won't that rotate all the way around? Oh, there we go. It's just really stiff for some reason. You can get him holding up his sword with it angled like that if you really want to. I don't know why you would want to be honest, because he's not He-Man. He does rotate here at the waist just slightly. You got a lot of junk here in the back, but you're not going to get a full range of motion, but you can sort of twist it around. Hips around ball joints, and then they also rotate at the upper part of the thigh, but that can cause some problems in transformation if you don't get things lined up properly. It's going to be harder to actually get this to peg in there. So that joint's actually more of a hindrance than anything else. I would really just prefer that they just left the ball joint on there, and you can see just rotating it at the ball joint, you get a good rotation here. I don't think you need that extra cut. Then he bends here at the knee, but the wheels only give you about a 45-degree angle bend. It's not much. Then the feet also have a joint that moves forward and back as part of the transformation, but then it's also on a ball joint below that, so you get a good wide stance with this guy. He looks very cool. I love the way that he looks. There's just a lot of clearance issues in when you're trying to pose him and things like that because of all the extra kind of junk. The only real pose that you can kind of get him in is his arms just like that. But highlighting his head, because that's the coolest feature about him, I absolutely dig it. There's a lot of also light piping that you can see. You got a lot of red coming through. There's actually red bits inside here because it's all coming like through there and such. But in the right light, you can actually get those to light up. Anything substantial, but at least it's there. And then you got some real nice light piping here in the actual eyes. And then obviously you got the red chest. Overall, it's a very cool look on this guy and very evil looking. And when the figure subscription service was initially announced, this guy, as well as the Deluxe Class Slipstream, which is a repaint of the Transformers Prime Deluxe Class Starscream with a new head, they were the most anticipated figures in the entire subscription. So it was very nice that they actually gave us one of those when they started right off the bat. I think the G2 Optimus Prime mold works perfectly for Scourge, even more so than as Optimus Prime. It just fits the character so much better. The Optimus Prime just, it was not working for me. And I really do like this guy. But I do gotta be honest, the price at $70 is a little bit steep and is gonna put a lot of people off. Now, in all fairness, this guy is a part of the subscription plan, which means if you signed up for it, he works out to be cheaper than if you bought him separately, like people are going to have to do right now if you didn't sign up for the actual subscription. When you signed up, you committed to buying 5 deluxe figures, this being one of them, and 1 Voyager, and the total cost was $282, which when you break it down roughly works out to the deluxe figures being about $44 and the Voyager being about $60. Now, that $44 price is much better, and that really is the incentive for signing up for the subscription because it allows you to get these at a much cheaper price. But if you didn't sign up for it, you're unfortunately left with going through the regular means of buying it through the Collector Club, and that means that this guy is $70. And for me, that's a little bit too high. $70 for a deluxe size figure is really what third-party companies are doing. I really wish that the actual Collector Club offered this at a little bit cheaper. Not necessarily, like I said, the $44 that signing up for the club or the subscription service would get the figure for you at. But if it was $50 or $55, that would be a much better price in my opinion. When you have competing adult collector companies such as Matty Collector, who does use a subscription-based model, they're still able to sell their figures on their site to non-subscribers at about $25. Personally, I absolutely love the look of the figure. As I said, I think the color just works beautifully as Scourge and sets him apart from being Optimus Prime. And if you are able to get this at a cheaper price, I would absolutely do it. Like I said, $50 to $55 is something that I'm comfortable with, and is kind of on par with the prices from other exclusives through the Collector Club. The $70 really puts me off, and at that price, I can't recommend this guy. Despite how good he looks, he's not a $70 toy. He's great, he's exclusive, and he's very unique, but the price just does not sit well with me. But one thing I will say is that the subscription is absolutely the way to go if you want to get these figures. And since this is the first time that we're getting these, it's understandable that some people may be a little bit cautious at first. So the second time around that the next subscription comes through, I really hope that you guys consider signing up for it. Because if Scourge is any indication of what we're going to get in the future, the sub-service does look very promising. Now, if you do really want this figure and you have no other options to get them, go ahead and click on the link down in the video description. You go to the Transformer Collector Club, and if you are already a member, you can sign up and get this guy. Now, if you aren't a member, you do have to sign up for the membership first, which does cost money. and it depends on which shipping options you choose. Or you can go on eBay, and while I was at BotCon, this guy was already selling for like $150 to $200. So it's really up to you, however you want to go. But that's about it, guys. So I hope you enjoyed your look at the first figure from the Transformer Collector Club figure subscription. And until next time, this has been Optibotimus. Keep in touch with me. Find our recent purchases as well as all upcoming video reviews all at facebook.com/teambotimus, and follow me over on Twitter at twitter.com/optibotimus. And until next time, I'll talk to you later.